We're going to go ahead and lay down a blood trail, and we're going to wait and let it sit while we process this meat, and then we'll come out and we'll run this Blue Lacy down it and see how he does. Alright, so we're fitting to make some wild drop hog sausage here. This isn't sponsored or anything like that. This is just the brand I use. It's LEM Backwoods. It's pretty simple to make. You process your own meat and just mix all the seasonings in with the meat and package it. I use that one because my family likes my flavor. If you have a different one that you like, the process is still the same. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how I make sausage and the steps I do. So those of you who do hunt and pay somebody else to process your meat, then maybe you can save a little bit of money just by doing it yourself. You got to spend a little bit of money in the beginning, but in the end, it's worth every penny. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you right here is my my grinder. It's just a Game Winner 500 watt or 1/2 horsepower grinder. I'm pretty sure it's just a rebranded LEM. And then when it's all set up, I use a medium grind plate. Now the first thing that I do is, because I go ahead and butcher all my meat and debone beforehand, and I let it freeze, and then I unthaw it when I need it. Well, you see how you get all this blood in here. First thing I'm going to do is put it in a strainer and let all this blood drain out. Now I do this for two reasons. One, it removes some of that blood flavor from the meat. The other reason that I've got a couple of cur dogs, well, a cur dog and a Blue Lacy, that are trained for wild game recovery, and I'll actually use this blood to train them for blood trailing. Now, the next thing you're going to do is so obviously you can't run a piece like this through the grinder, so you got to cut it up into smaller chunks like this so you can feed her through the grinder. Alright, so once you got everything cut into manageable pieces, you just get to grinding. Alright, one of the things that I like to do when I'm running the meat through the grinder is I like to alternate between really lean pieces and really fatty pieces. That way you get a good mix of fat in there. Generally you want about a 20 to 30% mix of fat when you're making sausage. Alright, so as you can see, it says for 5 pounds of meat, use the entire pouch and 5 ounces of water. We're actually doing 2 pounds, so we'll do 10 ounces of water in 2 pouches. Alright, so this here's the fun part, and I recommend taking off your rings if you have any. So, all this is going to be mixed up. If you've got a big enough mixer, if you've got like a sausage mixer, you can use that. You can use a KitchenAid if you do it in smaller batches, but I like to have mine to have consistent flavor, so just going to go ahead and pour all this in here. And make sure you get all these extra little seasonings and stuff. Maybe add just a tiny bit more water. It's not going to hurt it. And get all that seasoning in there. Now you're supposed to mix it until it's tacky, so it has a little bit of a sticky feel to it. And that'll help actually spread the fat out a little bit to where you've got a good consistent sausage. And you can wear gloves while you're doing this. Some wild hogs have some sort of weird disease. I only met one person who's got it from processing hogs, but he said he felt like he was going to die for about 2 weeks. So if you got any cuts or open sores on your hand, I would definitely recommend wearing gloves, but I don't, and I'm trying to knock this out real quick for you. So we'll go ahead and mix her up. And from this point right here, she's ready to package. Now, there's a couple ways you can package this. You can either wrap it up in freezer paper, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out the sausage stuffer and I'm going to stuff it into game bags just because it makes it easier to handle. Alright, so this is the Game Winner sausage stuffer, and I'm sure just like the grinder, I'm sure it's just a rebranded LEM, you know, just to put a store's name on it. And you don't necessarily need one of these, but when you process a lot of game, generally on average I'll probably do about 20 hogs and about 5 deer a year. So for me it just made sense because they make attachments for the grinder that'll stuff sausage and they'll do stuff game bags and stuff like that. But before, when I was using those, we did a 20-pound run of snack sticks out of Wild Hog, and it took us 5 hours. We had to constantly stop, put our meat back in the refrigerator so it wouldn't get too warm while we were doing this, just because the stuffing process is just not that fast with the motor on the grinder. So I went ahead and found one of these. It was on clearance. I paid $80 for it. I think on average a 7-pound stuffer will cost you about $120. In my opinion, it's worth every penny, but once again, it all just depends on the amount of game you process over the year. So we're going to go ahead and get this loaded up. What we got here is we got some LEM game bags. We're just going to go ahead and fill them up to the 1-pound line. We'll mark them beforehand with maple breakfast sausage. That way, you know, whoever goes in the freezer, they know exactly what they're getting. And we'll get them packaged up, put in the freezer. Alright, so we got it all loaded up. Once you get it all loaded up, you're just going to take your bag. So, well, first you want to get all the air out of the system, because there's going to be some air. And you're going to wait until you see the meat come out in the end there, okay? You're going to take your bag and slide it all the way on till the end. And you're just going to go ahead and crank her out until she gets to the 1-pound line.
Those curtains. I mean, it's like it's showtime.
Once she's there, pack her down, try to get all the air out. And twist her up, and then you can either tape her or hog ring her. I've got hog rings. I'll show you guys how to do that here in a minute. Alright, so for these game bags, you can use either tape or these little hog rings, and they make special pliers for these, but I'm too cheap to go buy them. So basically all you're going to do is you can twist up the end of the bag here and slide the hog ring on. Now you can use hog ring pliers, or you can just use a pair of good old channel locks. And you just go ahead and crimp this bag, or crimp that hog ring over until she grabs and she seals up. Alright y'all, thanks for watching. If you're interested in any more of these how-to videos on game processing, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing a few more. I think next up we're either going to do some summer sausage or some bratwursts. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And check out these other 2 videos we got posted up. And as always, attack life. Never apologize. Find it. Search.